Well, hello everyone. My name is Ajahn Wade Buripanyo, and came down here from the Ashokan Meditation Center in upstate New York about 6 weeks ago. And it's a new meditation center up there, and our buildings weren't ready for winter. And so I was very fortunate to have a connection with Tenjau Kun Sunan, and so I asked him if I could come down here to his nice warm monastery, his nice warm temple, and having a very nice day here, thanks to the hospitality of Lumpur and the Sangha here and the lay supporters. So thank you very much. And so Lumpur asked me to do a review of the information that's been covered. Also field questions, if there are any. And we have about 45 minutes. I think at 5 o'clock you're scheduled for a break, that's right. And self-review of meditation technique and progress. And so maybe what we'll do is start off with a brief recap. Look at the schedule here to jog my memory and make sure I don't miss any key topics. So yesterday morning, after administering the precepts, Lumpur was talking about the benefits of meditation. And I think modern science tells us that there are many benefits to meditating, especially if we meditate on a regular basis over a long period of time. It's very good for us mentally and emotionally and physically. And I think those of us who meditate regularly can attest to this. And we feel the difference if we meditate sincerely, even just for a little while. If we stop when we're done meditating and pay attention to how we feel, we usually will find that we feel calmer and more aware, and our mood is better. Lumpur also talked about the merit of practicing meditation. You see in the suttas, it says that if you give something to a human being, it will come back to you at least 1,000 times over. Yeah. And it says that as much good merit as this is, even if you were to give away 84,000 in gold and silver over the course of a year. So I would say in modern times we say even if you gave away millions of dollars over the course of a year, it wouldn't match the merit of undertaking the 5 precepts. And you all have undertaken the 8 for a few days now, for this 5-day retreat, for those of you who are here for all 5 days. So congratulations, that's even better merit. And then he says, as wonderful merit as this is, keeping the 5 precepts, he says that it's still even greater merit to practice loving kindness meditation for as long as it takes to milk a cow. And I think I've been told, or maybe I read it, that it used to take about 15 minutes to milk a cow. I believe that this applies not only to loving kindness meditation, but to samatha meditation in general. Recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, for example, or mindfulness of breathing to make the mind calm. According to Theravada Buddhism, if you are very well attained in samatha meditation, you'll be reborn in the heavens, in a very high heaven realm. And then still greater merit is perceiving impermanence for the time span of a finger snap. And so this speaks to the merit Lumpur was telling us about. Comes from meditation. And of course we know that meditation is is a part of the Noble Eightfold Path which leads to enlightenment. So the very greatest kind of benefit possible. And then and he expounded on the terms chitta pavana. And chitta pavana, chitta meaning mind. In the Thai traditions we oftentimes use heart with mind interchangeably. So, and in Thai they often use the words heart and mind together as a compound. Jit jai, the mind heart. And as something distinct from the body. And pavana means to develop or cultivate. And so meditation is the cultivation or the development of the mind. And by Buddhist standards, this is the most valuable kind of development because when we die, we have to leave all physical things behind. And so we want to, if we can, develop our mind as much as possible. Then in the afternoon, he talked about, Lumpua talked about anapanasati, the mindfulness of in and out breathing, which is known to the tradition as the form of meditation the Buddha was practicing when he attained enlightenment. And so for this reason, and also for the reason that it is considered by the Theravada tradition to be suitable for all personality types, in Thailand they call it the crown meditation object. The crown meditation object, mindfulness of breathing. And we have a sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya that details the 16 steps of breath meditation as handed down from the Buddha. And Lumpua expounded especially on the first 4 steps. The 16 steps can be divided into 4 sets of 4 tetrads, as they say. The first related to the body, the second to vedana, which is usually translated into English as feeling, and the third related to the mind, and the 4th tetrad related to impermanence, fading away, disappearance, and letting go. And so the first tetrad that Lumpua especially expounded on was the tetrad related to the body, which is getting to know the breath. Breathing in, the meditator knows he's breathing in. Breathing out, the meditator knows she is breathing out. Breathing in short, the meditator knows that she is breathing in short. Breathing out short, she knows she's breathing out short. And then it's repeated for long breaths. Breathing in long, nose breathing in long. Breathing out long, nose breathing out long. Then breathing... Short and long breaths are taken together in the second instruction. The third instruction is knowing the entire body. And then the 4th instruction, breathing in, the meditator knows the whole body. Breathing out, the meditator knows the whole body. Then the 4th instruction is breathing in, the meditator calms the body, and breathing out, the meditator calms the body. And so we have this aspect of samatha, calming, together with knowing, being able to distinguish, developing the ability to distinguish with regard to the breath, which later will become very valuable when paying attention to the various sensations that arise, and then as well to calming those, calming the mental formations such as perception and vedana, and then calming the mind in the 3rd tetrad, and releasing the mind, liberating the mind, and then clearly seeing impermanence and fading away, cessation and being able to let go. And so Lumpua told us about Anapanasati. Then this morning, the first talk, I believe, was the Satipatthana, discourse on Satipatthana at 9 o'clock this morning. And the 4 stations of mindfulness. The body, vedana, again, usually translated as feeling. The mind and tamas. And Anapanasati, of course, is considered a meditation technique within the domain of mindfulness of the body that proceeds through the other stations as well. So within the mindfulness of the body station, we have mindfulness of breathing, and Paul also talked a bit about the 4 elements contemplation of physical matter contemplation of matter as being earth element, water element, air element, and fire element. Getting in touch with the body in this way. He talked about the 32 component parts of the body, which can be seen as unclean, as unbeautiful, which is a good antidote for lust and greed. Elements meditation being good for developing wisdom into the body as not having any self. And there are other contemplations within this domain or this station of mindfulness. The corpse contemplations, for example, reviewing an actual corpse, or the image of a corpse in various states of decay, to help us grow dispassionate towards the body and give up our attachment to the body. There's mindfulness of the body in its various postures. So being mindful of the movements of the body as we move around, and as we're sitting or as we're standing still, lying still, whatever posture we may be in or whatever movements we might make, being aware of those. And even perhaps the simplest form of meditation in the body is simply being aware of which posture we're in. Simply knowing the posture of the body. And by Theravada tradition, when we're practicing 4 foundations of mindfulness, we want to start with one of these body contemplations, whether it's the breath or one of the other ones that I've mentioned, because it's their more prominent kinds of objects. And they're stable, they're relatively stable compared to things like our emotions and so on. If we talk about breath meditation, for example, we always know where to find the breath, and it's very predictable. And so it's a relatively easy object to train our mindfulness on. So we begin with a body object when practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Paul also did make reference to the kammatthana in general, which include meditation objects that are not in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. These include, for example, loving-kindness meditation, recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, some objects I mentioned before. Not within the 4 foundations of mindfulness, but also objects that are relatively prominent and that are predictable in the sense that we generate them. And so we know right where to find them. Some advantages to these kinds of objects to train our mindfulness and our meditation with. All right. And before proceeding on to the vedana and citta and the dhammas. And then this afternoon, Lumpua talked about the trisika, tisika, the triple training, the 3 trainings. Sila, samadhi, and panya. And referred to frequently in the Dhamma Vinaya, the suttas and the Vinaya, as the 3 trainings for those who are intent on attaining liberation. We have to have a strong foundation in our morality and precepts, and in concentration and in wisdom. And I always do this. I always say Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, the 3 aggregates of the Noble Eightfold Path. Actually, the 3 trainings they're simply named a little bit differently. They're named the training in Ati Sila, or higher Sila, Ati Chitta, or higher mind, and Ati Panya, or higher wisdom, which again the Sila of the Noble Eightfold Path. Monastics have additional Sila as well. And Ati Chitta, the heightened mind, is the Samadhi, and the Ati Panya is the wisdom. I did the same thing when we had class a few weeks ago in the Tisika. And so the precepts of the Course are a wonderful foundation in Sila for practicing meditation, going on to the other 2 trainings. Very customary for those who enter the temple to practice meditation, to go on retreat, including not just the 5 precepts, but the renunciant precepts as well. Not eating past midday, for example. Very good for your renunciation parami as well, which strengthens the mind. Letting go of things like eating food past midday, letting go of entertainment, and so on. Of course, in the path factors, we have some additional trainings in speech. It's very important to note and to be aware of and to follow, of course, as they're essential to the Noble Eightfold Path, like all the other factors. And so, in right speech in the Noble Eightfold Path, we have not only the abstention from lying, but also the abstention from harsh speech, from idle chatter, and divisive speech. Harsh speech, divisive speech, and idle chatter. And something that's very nice about going on retreat in a temple is that one of the hallmarks of a temple retreat is the noble silence. We try to remain silent as much as possible. If we feel like saying something, we ask it to pass 3 tests first. If anyone can remember the 3 tests. Does anyone remember the 3 tests? Yeah, this is a Q&A session. It's not just one way. So. The 3 tests for speech we should think before we talk. And let's see. Sorry? Okay, that's good. 2/3. That's great. So you can even help them out with one more. Oh, that's a good, yes. I think it's related. It's actually is it necessary? Is it necessary? Is it true? And is it kind? Yeah. And so this is an exercise in mindfulness, isn't it? It's so common for us as human beings that we feel like saying something. The urge arises, the thought in the head, and it's traveling out of the mouth already, isn't it? You know? And so simply guarding your speech can be a very good exercise in mindfulness. And always considered a very important part of the practice, the meditation practice. There's a sutta, also in the Majjhima Nikaya, where the Buddha visits 3 Arahant monks, 3 enlightened monks who are living very amicably, living very harmoniously. As it says in the sutta, they're blending like milk and water, just as you could mix milk and water together very easily. They were mixing in just this way. And this was contrasted with another monastery that the Buddha had just come from, where the monks were stabbing each other with verbal daggers. So this was a dramatic contrast. And the Buddha asked them, how is it that you live together so harmoniously? And one of the things they said is that they hardly ever spoke. Okay. And because they were they were intent on, they were staying the peace, so on, like this, I believe, that they had internally. And there's no need to stir the mind up and get involved in talking and so on. They were quite fortunate also to have the precepts that the Lord Buddha had given them, and the customs of the monastic culture to follow. And so they had all this training as well. And their lives were very simple, just as when we're here in the temple. Their lives were very simple, so there wasn't too much to discuss. But they never engaged in any idle chatter. And so when there was something to be done, if it required two of them, they knew what to do, and they could just motion to each other, and they knew what to do and how to help each other out, and they looked after each other. So they still had loving kindness for each other. And so they practiced acts of loving kindness in body, speech, and mind towards each other. And then once, so on I was about to say once a week, but it isn't quite exactly right. So on the moon phases, which works out to about once a week, when they did their observances, they would spend the entire night speaking Dhamma, conversing about Dhamma with each other. And so their speech was very beneficial to each other, and it was very useful, and there was no idle chatter. And so if we can maintain the environment of quiet, this is very good not only for ourselves and our own practice of mindfulness, it also makes the environment very conducive to everybody else for their practice of meditation. And so this is a kind of gift that we give to each other, and a kind of merit that we make, helping to nurture an environment that's suitable for meditation. So that's, I started talking about the Tisika, and that was in relation to speech, which was in relation to the training in higher sila, or conduct, morality and conduct. And then we have the Sika, or the training in heightened mind, which is about developing the mind, the Chitta Bhavana, especially with relation to developing concentration. And concentration depends on the right effort to develop mindfulness with regard to your meditation object. And so we've talked a bit already about the instructions for breath meditation. And so it's about practicing that. And Lung Po has been delivering a lot of wisdom that relates to the training in heightened wisdom. Seeing our experience in terms of the Four Noble Truths, and making effort to do that which is skillful and to set aside that which is unskillful. And if we keep practicing and practice a lot continuously, then we can develop the concentration and observe the realities of these kinds of things as they're occurring. And that's when we can attain the paths and fruits and nibbana. All right. So that is a very short review. And I wonder if anyone has any questions about these topics that would be helpful to clear up, to help with your meditation while you're here. Yes?
I have a question.
Yes.
Not with the topics, but like this, my general studies of meditation. So, when we meditate, we try to remove our egos, right? To be pure awareness. That's the main goal of meditation.
Well, it's one of the... people come at meditation for many reasons, and one thing that we eliminate if we're very advanced in the practice is the conceit I am. The conceit I am. usually translated the idea, the false idea, I am. But in total, there are 10 fetters that keep us bound to the round of rebirths, which by Buddhist standards is what we're trying to get out of. But of course, different people are going to have different goals with their meditation practice. And so what I've said is about kind of the traditional Theravadan point of view on it. And some of us are trying to learn how to lead a less stressful life, and some of us would like to have a better memory. Meditation may help us with our memory, for example. Some of us would like to learn how to manage our emotions, or perhaps even lower our blood pressure. And all these are very good things, of course, too. And so, yes, but if we do practice meditation, and we can continuously develop our mindfulness of the breath, for example, then various concepts will fade away. And that can be very peaceful, Then we can try to simply discern the impermanence there, discern how the breath is changing all the time, and our mental experience is always changing, and other sensory experience that we encounter. And let go of everything, even also the idea that I am. Yeah, so 2 hands up and back, okay.
So my question is, for samadhi, right? I've heard it where it's like samadhi as a process, right? And then samadhi as a state to be reached. Like samadhi as the process to achieve wisdom, and then samadhi as a state of non-dual state that you reach through deep absorptions. So can you break that down at all for me, or like how does that? Because one sounds like a path of samadhi, that like you're supposed to do these things and you reach samadhi, but when we're speaking, we talk about it as like it as the process itself.
Yes. Yeah, so you could talk about it another way. So a lot of these words, they get used, kind of the meanings begin to blend and so on. It happens in Thai to some extent. In Thai, for example, there's the term tam samadhi, which means make concentration, you might say. But is literally just understood as to meditate. And then there is samadhi as a state, you could say, as a state of concentration. So, yeah. All right. And you had a question also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I struggle with low blood pressure every so often.
Uh-huh.
And I know it's not my body. Well, it's my body is causing it, but it's not it's not me, like the body-mind relationship. So, as like flares up and goes away, do I just slow down? Not my practice, but how I move, through the world. Like for example, if I'm sitting up and doing deep breathing, sometimes my blood pressure will drop and I can fall.
You could fall, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like the laying down helps, but is it sometimes okay? Other times not so okay.
Is it okay to do what? Sorry.
Focusing on the breath brings out that relationship, I think, between the body and the mind. So I'm able to focus on, these uncomfortable feelings. So I can feel like, if I'm going to pass out, if that's, coming on or not. So I can kind of like put a hand down or, feel it out because of the awareness. But there's the impermanence.
I'm sorry?
So there's impermanence, so but should the practice always be the same, or does the practice adapt with the individual's mind and body through time?
Oh, yes.
That was my question.
Yes, it'll change over time. That's right. And you'll adapt your practice to the changing circumstances. Yeah, that's right. So meditation over time becomes a bit of an art. Yeah. Very good, yeah. Sure. Okay.
Length of meditation. I've read some books, just a little bit, not much, but some books say 20 minutes. Another book says 10 minutes is good. And recently I read an article, just 3 breaths. So I'm confused. So to be effective, how long actually should meditation be?
Okay, to be effective, reach what goal?
Pardon?
To reach what goal?
To calm the mind.
To calm the mind, okay. So actually, there you go. What you do is you meditate in the mind until the mind is calm.
Another thing is it okay, because this is a therapeutic tradition, so recently I follow, I'm not a regular meditator, but there are some mantra, some chanting in Japanese, and also in Tibetan tradition there are some mantra, but maybe just one line. So is it okay from therapeutic tradition point of view, is it okay to use mantra from other traditions like Mahayana or Vajrayana?
Let's see here. No, is this in relation to this retreat here?
Okay.
Are you talking about using the mantra from another tradition on this retreat here?
No, in my when I go
sorry.
back,
Okay.
when I feel like I use this mantra, which will help me attain concentration.
Okay. So I would have to say, without knowing what the mantra is, it would be part of the question anyway, but maybe it's something to table for some other time, so kind of focus on what's going on in the retreat right now. Yeah, thank you.
Do you mean that you use the mantra for maybe your mantra?
Yeah, that's part of meditation.
Part of
There is a meditation. Like in Tibetan tradition, there is a mantra.
You can say anything. You can use the word or the mantra as long as your mind.
Okay, หลวงพ่อครับนะครับหลวงพ่อนะครับขอโทษครับ would it be what do you think if we
I
did
have a last question.
what do you think if we did a guided meditation now? Would that be all right? Would it be all right if we did a guided meditation now? Would it be all right if we did a guided meditation now? Oh, thank you. Okay, that's fine. Do you think you had one more question? Do you want to, yeah? If we would do one question, we do a guided meditation? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, could you please share your experience about the meditation when the first time that you do the sixth meditation, and what happened when you close your eye and you start breathing in, breathing out? Because I believe that a lot of us is like a brand new, and you passed that experience before. So I think it's very good to share the experience, because I know that we can adapt that kind of experience to ourselves when we see something or we know something or we during the meditation.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, what I found the first time I practiced breath meditation is that sometimes the mind wouldn't stay with the breath and go off to other sensory experience, whether it was thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, or images in the mind, or bodily sensations or sounds. And whatever the experience was, whatever the sensory experience was, I would recall if I remembered the instructions, then I would follow the instructions about how to deal with sensory experience and then return to the breath. And that's over time, the mind becomes more and more willing to stay with the breath.
So in one sit meditation, that means that a lot of time you have to go back to the instruction because of the mind go all over the place.
Right. Yes, right.
Yeah, maybe that answers a lot of persons that have the first experience as well.
I do have one more question. Is there a thing like if you meditate too much, is that like a bad thing? Or
Not if you meditate right. Yes. All right. Good. All right. Then why don't we go ahead and again take up our meditation postures. All right. Very good. And when we meditate, when we're practicing mindfulness of breathing, we want to come inside. And we leave everything else that's outside to take care of itself for a while. And we want to be in the present moment. And so we leave the past. It's nowhere to be found anymore anyway. It doesn't really exist. Neither does the future. So we let go of the past and the future. And we begin to notice right here in the body by getting in touch with the sensations that we experience in the body. And so I would like to ask you to notice some feelings in the body. There may be one sensation that is prominent. Or you may notice multiple sensations. And we want to see if we can be there with them and experience them just as they are. All right. Leaving everything else alone, letting it take care of itself as we come into the body. And we can recognize that this is the body. And then I would like to ask you to pay attention to one sensation in particular, and that is the feeling of the breath. Wherever you may notice it as being prominent, whether it's at the nose or the mouth, at the chest or in the abdomen. And as we become aware of it, it may change. And we can be there with it, and we can work with it to help it feel good. as the breath nourishes the body. And then slowly allow it to settle into a natural rhythm as you are there with the breath. All right, very good. Okay. And then we're going to adjust our awareness a little bit as we transition into the next phase, having developed this connection with the breath. I'd like to ask you to be aware now of the breath along its full course as we practice belly breathing. And so we'll be aware of the breath as it enters the gateway at the nose or the mouth, and then travel down with it through the throat and the chest to the abdomen. Allow the abdomen to expand as it receives the air. And then there may be a pause, and then allow the abdomen to contract as the air rises up, and we follow it up through the chest, the throat, and then we stay at the gateway, experiencing the breath passing through the nose or the mouth again. We stay there at the gateway. So we breathe in, following the breath all the way down through the body into the abdomen, allowing the abdomen to expand, to receive the air, filling the lungs with air secondarily if we like. And then as we exhale, the abdomen gently contracts. The air rises up as we follow it with our awareness. We stay at the gateway, experiencing the air flowing out through the nose or the mouth. Long, smooth, natural breaths. Made with awareness. All right. And we can pair it with our interest in becoming calm. As we breathe with awareness, we can think, may I be calm. May I be calm. And we can harmonize it with the breathing. As we breathe in, thinking, may I, and as we breathe out, be calm. May I be calm. Very good. May I be calm. Excellent. Now you can keep breathing in this way if you find it comfortable and conducive. And I would like to ask us to focus our attention a little bit more, to hone our mindfulness by focusing specifically on the breath at the heart, right there in the middle of the chest. Feeling the breath rising and descending within the middle of the chest, or the rise and fall of the chest itself. Seeing if you can be right there with the feeling of the breath at the heart. All right. And for a few more moments, can still use that thought. May I be calm, harmonized with the breathing. Very good. Okay. And then I would like to ask you to take one more step with me to the classic technique of counting the breath, as we're aware of it right there at the heart. Counting 1 with an in-breath, 2 with an out-breath, 3 with an in-breath, and so on, up to 10. Okay. Okay. Now, if you've reached 10, that's wonderful. If not, that's also okay. We just begin again with 1 on an in-breath, 2 on an out-breath, 3 on an in-breath, continue on up to 10 again. Okay. Once again, if you've reached 10, that's great. If not, that's also okay. We just start again at 1 and count another set of 10. And I'd like to ask you to keep practicing in this way, counting the breath in sets of 10. And in a few moments, I'll offer some advice about working with difficulties we might encounter. Although you may not encounter any. Please keep meditating and focusing on the counting of the breath. And if I say something relevant, it will come through. But otherwise, no need to pay any attention. We may find that the mind hasn't quite settled down. This happens sometimes. We find the mind goes out to other things or thoughts. We can simply become aware of this and what the mind has gotten involved with. And notice that we're not interested in that right now. And just let it go on its own way. And gently come back to the breath at the heart and to the counting. if the mind is persistently restless, then we might return to our thoughts of calm. May I be calm. Being with that thought and with the breath there at the heart. On the other hand, we may sometimes find that we become drowsy. If that happens, it may be good to open the eyes, keep the eyes open, let some light in, and then raise up within ourselves our energy. Call up the energy within us. And straighten up our posture really tall. And with our eyes open, maybe gazing at the floor just to let the light in, or looking up at the shiny Buddha and the lights to really bring a lot of light in. And we can adjust our breath if we need to, a little bit, breathing a little bit more deeply to help us be aware of it and to count it. And then see, can you count 10 breaths in a row? And if so, how many sets of 10? And we might remember that this is the path that the Buddha walked. Mindfulness of breathing. And so every breath that we are mindful of is another footstep on the path of the Buddha. And he told us that as long as we keep trying, we will get better at it. And we can overcome suffering just as he did. And we can attain liberation just as he did. And so it's worth it to keep trying and make an effort. Letting go of other things, one by one. Being here at the heart with the breath. And I would like to invite you all to continue practicing here in the hall if you like. It's 5:15 now, unless Lumpua has other plans. Those of you who would like to do walking meditation, I'm sure that you can. Or if you have other things to take care of before the chanting starts at 6. Maybe bow quietly and step out quietly, and those who would like, and remain practicing.
They're going to take care. They're going to take care. Okay. That's really helped some of them. So I was quite sure that some of them they didn't understand that, and when you explain that, they got it.